community, by the community. Trans Radio UK.
Did you know we have an active and fun chat room? Come and join presenters and other listeners at transradiouk.com. Truck United FC, the new football team for the LGBT community. Visit tiukunitedfc.com for more details. Trans Radio UK, here for the community, 24 hours a day.
It's Wednesday, it's 9 p.m. And of course, as you know, that means it's the LGBTQ plus late show with myself, Kevin, here on Trans Radio UK. I've got an incredible show lined up for you this evening, packed with some fantastic guests. And it's a bit of an international show this evening. We're going to pop across to the US. We've got a guest here in the UK. And then we're going to pop across to the Canary Islands. So let's get it underway with one of our final shows before Christmas.
This is transradiouk.com, transmitting throughout the UK and the world.
And now this evening on the show, I have an incredibly special guest. Jessica Shively is taking America by storm on TikTok. And if you haven't seen any of her videos, then we're going to talk about them, tell you where to go, tell you how to look at them. But for the moment, I'm going to introduce you to the program. And good evening, Jessica.
Hi. How you doing, Kevin? Thank you.
I am good. Now, how on earth did this all start? How did you suddenly start to take over TikTok? I mean, at this point, you have what, 34,000 followers on TikTok?
It's almost just over 33,000. It started about a year ago, and I was just doing TikToks just for fun. Mm-hmm. And somebody made a very crass comment, and I replied back to him, and that video kind of took off, and it's got almost 1 million views with it right now.
Amazing.
And I got it going. And next thing I know, I'm at 1,000 followers, and 3,000, and 4,000. And just 2 days ago, it went over 33,000.
What I love about your content is that I have a few, I was going to say a few friends. It's actually the children of a few friends, because I'm of that age, who are doing a lot here in the UK and also in Ireland with TikTok. But so much of the content is very similar and it's very samey. What I love about yours is that it's all really different. You just kind of, you look at it and you don't know what to expect next. And I love that it's such varied content.
I'll see something that's there everybody else is doing, and then I'll just kind of do a different view of it, or just do something I want to do. And it's just, people like it. And I'm just kind of winging it as I go.
And it's great. One of the lovely things about it is the positivity and the you focus in a number of the videos which I have looked at your journey, and it's lovely to see it framed so positively and to see so many positive interactions to it, because I'm not sure, and it would be great to speak about where we are with trans rights in the US at the moment. In the UK, I'm sure you've seen lots of the press where in some ways it feels like the trans community is very much so under threat here in the UK at the moment. So to see your TikTok, which is so positive and so reaffirming, and actually so life reaffirming in many ways, it's lovely to see that positivity.
Yeah, most of, like I said, I do stuff just to be positive. And I do a lot of live broadcasts on TikTok. And basically, it's an open forum. People come in, ask whatever questions they want. I'm very open about my transition. People can ask within a certain amount. I don't go there's certain things I won't talk about. Mm-hmm. I won't talk about my dead name. I won't talk about my family.
Yeah.
And I also stay away from politics and religion. Yeah. Because those two things will divide people in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But other than that, I try and make it so that people understand that transgender people are just people. We're not monsters. We're not anything. We're just people that got a bad deal in life. Mm-hmm. And that's basically all it is. We got something happened just when we were born, and here we are. And I got a little late start. I started when I was 48 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm 50 years old now, I'm basically starting my life over.
And you know, it's
Kinda crazy.
one of the things that I have seen certainly with friends. And on Saturday evening, I was out here for drinks with somebody who, a bit like yourself, transitioned much later in life. And somebody who was a member of the armed forces here, and spoke about their journey. And it's incredible to I don't know what your friendship circle's like, but with mine there were two very distinct camps. It was almost like, you know, that Goldilocks thing: too hot, too cold, just right.
Yeah.
It's with my friends, they either started the transition process very young or started at late 40s, early 50s. It's almost like, certainly from my experience, I have no friends who started at maybe early or mid 30s. It was almost like something that happened straight away, or something that it took quite a long time to get to.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm 50 years old. I was born, I mean, it was 1978 when I kind of figured out something was different about me. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I was different. Because in the 1970s, we didn't have the term transgender.
Mhm.
I mean, and my mom was uber Catholic and my dad was a cop.
Wow,
So, I
that's a
mean,
combination.
yeah, and he was a Lutheran cop on top of that. So it's
Oh, wow.
yeah, this anything away other than cisgender, nothing got talked about.
Yeah,
And even at that age, I understood keep your mouth shut.
yeah. I certainly
And
can't. A Lutheran cop, I can't relate to. The very strict Catholic side, obviously being Irish, I can relate to.
yeah,
But yeah, a strict Lutheran cop. That's two parents that are. Yeah, that's an
yeah,
interesting combination.
and they're still married by some miracle.
Oh wow, excellent. Well, I should say
56 years.
congratulations to them. Wow.
Yeah, 56 years. But I just figured out I had followed the gender roles. I went in the service, I got married, had kids, and just kind of went with the flow. And a couple years, I got divorced 9 years ago, not because I'm transgender, just because of things that she did, and wasn't going to tolerate it anymore. And we walked out
Mhm.
into that.
And
then
then
2 years ago, I transitioned.
and that's one of the things that you're very open about on your TikTok channel. But it's done with such fun, positivity, and humor that's what I adore. It's at a time when lots of young trans people are seeing negative headlines. It's lovely to have somebody who, I think you're kind of forming yourself into a role model for younger trans people to see how much. I mean, your face lights up every time you smile on TikTok, and that's an asset in itself.
Yeah, I get a lot of people that come in during a live broadcast or email me or direct message me afterwards. I have a new daughter now. What do I do to help them? Support them. Call them their name. Use their pronouns. Should I start them on hormones? No. Get them a therapist. That's the first thing you do. Get them a therapist, get them the help they need. You don't need to get them into hormones. You don't need to talk about surgery. That may or may not happen later down the road. And that's just my experience, and that's what I go with.
And which part of I mean, your accent is hard to totally define it. Which part of the US are you in?
I am living in Austin, Texas right now.
And in terms of for the trans community in Austin, Texas, actually, do you know, I've got a few gay male friends in Austin, Texas, and they certainly, if I look at their photos on Facebook, they certainly seem to have a whale of a time there. What's it like for the trans community there?
You're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. So for in Austin, what's it like for the trans community? I have gay male friends. You may have missed that part of the interview. Sorry, just then. I have gay male friends who have a whale of a time in Austin, and I always see their Facebook posts, and they seem to be at parties all day, every day. But for the trans community, what's it like? What's it like living in Austin?
Austin is actually a very open city. It's very positive. I mean, we have quite a few parades during Pride. We lost quite a few places we could go during COVID. Several places closed down, unfortunately. But we found new places that are accepting, and we can go there on weekends and just have a couple drinks, meet people, and just get to be ourselves.
Yeah.
And nobody ever says anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've been transitioning for 2 years, and this is how I go out every day.
Yeah.
And I work in a very male-dominated field. I do construction, audio, video equipment in corporate buildings, gymnasium. You name it. If it's a corporate build or a commercial building, I can work in there, and that's usually where I'm at. And so I'm walking in, hair, makeup every day, and it's like, what the? But nobody ever says anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I mean, it's very open.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Meg, who stars in some of your videos on TikTok. And I mean, it's because how tall is Meg?
She's 4'7".
She's 4'7", and you said to me earlier before we came on air, you're 6'4".
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
It's quite
Without heels.
So Meg, is it okay to ask you? Meg started out as a friend, but it's developed into more.
She originally started out as just one of the people on TikTok, and she was always there on all my live. I used to go 7 days a week live on TikTok. I got addicted to it early on, and over time I've slowed that down. But she was always there. She was always talking, always chatting up and saying, "You need to start merchandise and do this and that." So we just started talking more and more, and over time, it's became a bigger relationship. And I had my surgery earlier this year for GRS, and she was there every minute. And we don't even live close to each other. She lives in Dallas.
Oh wow!
It's almost it's a 3-hour drive. And she was down here every weekend. She could be here.
And I love your video. The videos the two of you do in particular have an extra special magic to them, and I think it's because both of you play up to the height difference and maximize the comedic opportunities with it, and
yes,
it works.
It does, and she's a great person. I really love her.
And I love the fact that we're our listeners won't recognize this. Our listeners won't see this, but I do most of the interviews on Zoom. So as I sit here, you're sitting with your very gorgeous pussycat on your knee, and this is role reversal, because I think most of the listeners know about my crazy cat menagerie, so it makes a change for me not to be the one with a cat on my knee. How old is she?
Jasmine's about 2 years old, we think. I got her when she was about a year old.
She's gorgeous. A lovely tux.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's
very vocal.
Yeah, I could hear her, and I don't know if any of the listeners heard her, but at the start of the interview, I heard her as she walked around the room. I heard her in the background. Incredible.
She just wants attention, and if I'm doing anything, she wants to be part of it.
Has she been in any of your TikTok? I haven't seen her on any of the TikToks.
Not in any of the videos, but when I do my lives, a lot of times she jumps up in my lap on camera.
Yeah.
So almost everybody knows about her.
I think she could be an extra in the same way as she could be your equivalent of Binks in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, some people even said I should start her own TikTok channel and just do videos with just her.
Yeah.
Then I'll watch it take off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem with cats. It's or dogs. It's I've got a friend over here who's quite well known, and they're always saying that it's their dog. When they post their dog photographs, they always get far more likes than their own photos. So yeah, always when working with animals. So what does the TikTok channel have in store? What's the plans over the next? And you've got to have, come on, knowing your videos, you have got to have some festive plans.
I've got quite a few in the works right now. They're just in drafts right now, still on the phone. I still got to finish them out, add stuff. There's just little things. Sometimes I'll do them and I'll watch them and just kind of go, it's not going to work. Or like for truck, I've got to come up with stuff that's going to work with your guys' market.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just going to be about me; it's about everybody. So I got to put stuff together so that it works for everyone. And I'm working with some other creators that are from England, and there's some here from the States, and we're going to work on some content for both sides.
Yeah.
And be able to put them up on both sides of they'll be on my site and be on trucks also.
And that's one of the things I should say to anybody listening tonight who isn't aware. You have started working with Trans Radio UK, and you have started. There's been a bit of a formation of a very perfectly formed friendship to create content. So I think that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, Avril and everybody, they came to me and asked me if I could do it, and I was like, well, yeah, sure. I asked her why she picked me. I mean, I'm a nobody on the internet here, and she's just, I like your content, I like your creativity. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Well, I think there's two key focuses with what you do. First of all, it's hugely creative, but secondly, it's genuine. And we live in a world where so much of TikTok and so much content on social media is not real, and yours oozes. It oozes how genuine it is. It's and authenticity, which is if you've got that, I think you stand in good stead. And I guess that's probably what Avril and the team at Trans Radio saw. I want to do, we can talk about it when we're not on air, but I've got something in mind that I really want to do a TikTok with you. I've already got a track in mind. I've already got a track in mind, but we can toy about with it. I'm new to TikTok. I do all my work on Facebook, much to the detriment of Insta and TikTok and Snapchat and everything else. But I've just set up on TikTok, so yeah, I've got to try and use those creative juices to try and make some content for it.
I've got a lot of videos I'd like to do, but due to some of the content that's in the video or the language, I can't do them anywhere else. It's like, oh, I would love to do that, but I can't do that.
Yeah. And what about at the moment in the US? What are the COVID restrictions like? What are they? Because I've no kind of yardstick with how different it is to here in the UK.
COVID here, I mean, people are walking around like the COVID doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, we just surpassed 800,000 deaths here in the United States.
Wow.
And according to some of the news reports I've been seeing, almost 90 to 95% of the hospitalizations is from people who don't have the vaccine.
Really? That's a huge number.
We have somehow over the last 4 years, we got into this mindset of you're over there, I'm over here. Yeah. And no matter what the two say, they will never agree with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the other reason I never get into politics on my lives or in my videos, because it polarizes people too fast.
Yeah. And there's no point doing it. It's like, it's you can be individual without having to touch on things like politics and religion. Trust me, growing up in Northern Ireland, you soon learn that those are the two topics that are off reach.
My ancestry is German, Scot, and Irish.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
So I would love to go to that part of the world. I just haven't been able to get over there.
That's quite a mix. The Germanic mixed with the Celtic. That would normally lead me to think of of somebody that is quite a fiery, tumultuous personality. It's Celtic and Germanic mix. Normally, I wouldn't mess with somebody with that heritage.
Well, as my mom would say, you would get angry fast, and you would stay angry. And I'm like, yeah, that's the German and the Scot.
It's and then with some Irish in there, yeah.
And then Irish just like to drink.
Oh, all the time, all the time. I should point out I have a glass of wine in hand as I'm doing this. It's part of the program. You have to do it of an evening.
Well,
Um,
if I'd known that, I would have poured myself something, but
see, I should have said that to you earlier. I don't know if well, I do know actually because I travel to the US quite fairly frequently, and I know that Graham Norton is, although he doesn't have a show in the US, his British shows are broadcast there quite a bit.
I watch the BBC channel all the time.
Well,
I've caught Graham Norton quite a few times. He is funny.
he's great, but that's one of the tricks I picked up from him. You can't do a show without a glass of, especially not if it's a late show like this. You can't do it without a glass of wine. And I've just put up my Christmas tree before we do the show this evening, so
You can see mine behind me.
let me.
It's just a little tiny tree with a little elf in front of him.
Oh, I do see. Yes, it's a bit dark on the screen here, but yes, I do see here now.
I haven't plugged it in yet, so it's not lit up.
I've gone for the. I'm making the most of. I moved house a few years ago. I live in. I don't know if you're familiar with Brighton in the UK.
No, I'm afraid not.
Brighton's on the sea. It's right in the south of the country. It's in the sea, but Brighton has always been its reputation is the LGBTQ hippie capital of the UK. It's so Brighton is. I mean, my greater circle of friends, cisgendered heterosexual, I think make up about 2% of it. Everybody else is all across the LGBTQ community. So Brighton's it's a great place to live, but the buildings are very old. So our ceilings are 12 foot. So we've kind of gone a little bit over the top this year. It looks like something from a Hallmark movie or it looks like somebody's thrown up. Oh, hold on a second. We don't have LED lights in the ceiling. I should just point out, Jessica has lifted her remote as we speak and lit her ceiling up green and red. That's okay.
I can go any color I want.
That's very flash. I suspect
I just trying to do it one day, and it's like, what the heck?
If you're going to have a ceiling, have it light up.
Down here in Texas, we have almost 10-foot ceilings in apartments.
Oh, wow.
That's because it gets so bloody warm down here in the summertime.
Yeah.
We'll be into the hundreds for like 2 or 3 months straight sometimes.
Oh, you see, that's where your Irish roots obviously don't come out, because most Irish people would melt in that kind of heat. We'd look like Olaf after a hairdryer was pointed on him.
Yeah, this thing it's not fun. But you get used to it. You just learn not to go outside between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. It's just too hot.
Yeah.
And you run from air conditioning to air conditioning.
So what's speaking of hot and too hot, and what's Christmas? What's your plan? Because certainly most of my US friends don't really celebrate Christmas anywhere near as much as Thanksgiving or some of the other holidays. So what's Christmas got in store?
My friend Meg is coming down. Christmas Eve, we're going to drive down to her dad's place down in Victoria, Texas, and I'm going to meet her dad for the first time.
Excellent.
I've already met her stepmom, and her stepmom, cool, very intelligent woman, hospice nurse.
Oh, wow.
And according to Meg, she never liked somebody right from the get-go, and she liked me.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, well, I made points there. So I'm going to be down there for Christmas, and then I'll see my family the day after.
Excellent. And presumably it's going to be the big normal turkey Christmas dinner affair.
Yeah, as far as I know. I know my family, Christmas Day, they do ham, they do breakfast of whatever they want to do for breakfast. Then at night, then we do spiral cut ham, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and whatever else for dessert.
Yeah.
They kind of make it a big day-long thing because you get there about 7 and you leave about 6.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I never got that I could not get. So I used to spend Thanksgiving in New York for many, many years, and candied yams are the food of Satan. I'll never understand them. What are they?
I can't stand them either.
Don't understand them. It's yeah.
Now, homemade fudge and homemade caramel, that's a whole nother story.
Oh, if you like homemade fudge, right? I didn't know you liked homemade fudge, and I am going to send you some. And this is a promise. I'm going to send you a box of it from the UK, from the very place that it was invented, which is in the UK, and Cornish clotted fudge. And this shop, it has the best fudge in the world. I'm going to wait until the new year to post it, because the post will be crazy before then, and it only keeps for about a week or two. But yeah, good. I'm glad that you said you liked fudge. We'll get a parcel.
The thing when I transitioned, I started helping her in the kitchen, and she's going, "How do you know so much about cooking? You never spent any time in the kitchen with me." I was like, "Just because I wasn't there didn't mean I didn't understand what I'm doing."
Yeah.
And so she gave me a lot of her recipes, and she gave me her fudge recipe.
Excellent.
2 cups of butter, cup of sugar, vanilla, a can of evaporated milk, and 2.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate. You melt it all together, and then you take a whole can of marshmallow cream and dump it in there and mix it.
You see, you're just making me hungry now. You're making me salivate. I look like an overgrown Labrador. But listen, I just want to thank you for joining me this evening, Jessica, and wish you a very, very happy Christmas and a happy New Year, and the same to Meg as well.
All right.
And we should say, if anybody wants to find you on TikTok who doesn't already know who you are, they just have to go to TikTok.
Yeah, it's Jessica Shively with the number 2 at the end, and you just type it in, you'll see it, and you'll see my face on there, and make yourself noticed. Just put a post up or DM me or whatever, and I'll usually answer most questions.
Excellent. You haven't met our listeners yet, or the listeners of the show yet, so maybe we'll say just half of the questions you'll answer. But listen, thank you so much.
I'll answer as many as I can.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and have an amazing Christmas and a happy New Year.
You too.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Oh, I love this. We continue in moments.
This is good.
Yes, yes.
You're locked to Trans Radio UK.
Tea and Coffee are a global network providing alcohol-free safe spaces through face-to-face and online platforms. All of our events are held in safe, accessible and alcohol-free environments, allowing our members to relax and really connect with one another. To become part of one of the fastest growing global networks for trans and gender diverse people, simply visit tncoffeelgbt.com. That's the letter tncoffeelgbt.com. At Tea and Coffee, we're supporting you to be you.
Many website owners don't like their website hosting company or support provider, but are too scared to move to someone else in case they lose their site or it affects their business. Based in Telford, at Purple Prince Media, we will move your website to us free of charge with the best support possible. And if you're looking to start up a business, we're also here to design and build your website from the ground up with unbeatable prices on web hosting and dedicated servers. We're also certified Magento developers, which is the world's biggest e-commerce platform. So, rest assured, your online business is just a click away. Drop us an email on hello@purpleprince.co.uk or visit purpleprince.co.uk to get started. Purple Prince Media, the local website company.
International Trans Lifestyle Magazine. Available in print and digital. Support group and events. Information, friendship and support. transliving.co.uk. Did you know you can advertise with us for less than £1 a day? Call 0207 856 0584 or email sales@transradiouk.com.
For the community, by the community, Trans Radio UK.
Trans Radio UK is on right now. Across the UK and beyond. Now, more of the music you love. Trans Radio UK.
If you haven't heard the name Lee David Carter, then get ready for 2022, because it's a name that you're going to hear all too often. And Lee joins me on the line this evening. Good evening, Lee.
Hello, Kevin, and thanks for having me on the show this evening. It's great to sort of be now as a guest. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Had it been a week later, I would have forced you to wear a Santa hat for our Christmas special.
yeah, you know, like getting ready for Christmas now. It's so close.
Well, I swore that we'd never play Mariah Carey on the show, and I'm going to break that promise next week. We have to. She's the Queen of Christmas.
She is, or you could always put a bit of George Michael on Last Christmas. That's a great classic song.
Do you know what? At this point, though, I am so sick of. I'm a massive George fan. I've been playing him non-stop for weeks, and I think I've made myself sick on Last Christmas at this point. But as long as it's not one of those sausage roll songs, then I don't really care what we play.
Yeah, you don't like Mariah Carey. She's good.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us a bit about you. For anybody that doesn't know your name, rather than me do the introduction, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and why we're chatting this evening?
Well, my name firstly is Mr. Lee David Carter. I'm a trans man, and I went through a gender identity crisis for 40 years of my life, Kevin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I came from a different generation where it wasn't heard about, it wasn't spoken of. I was born 1968, so I grew up in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Back then it was Queer Nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it was the other way, they looked at you like you was queer or whatever. But my parents, I grew up in London. I'm a Cockney London man. Grew up.
I'd never have guessed that from the accent.
Eldest of 3 siblings. Parents had a house. Now they own a house, and I had a bit of a difficult childhood growing up. I didn't really have the support or the guidance. So anybody growing up through puberty that's going through this would be cruel, because it wasn't heard of or spoken about, and parents went through a divorce at a very young age, and family became dysfunctional, and I was in a dark place for a long period of time. The patterns in my life, growing up as Lisa, my parents thought I was a tomboy.
Yeah.
And they probably saw me as a lesbian, but I wasn't. I was suffering with what you call gender dysphoria. So anybody out there that's going through this or about to go through this, you get symptoms and triggers that your body just feels foreign to you.
Yeah. Sorry, you went.
You just feel like you're in the wrong body.
We lost sound quality a bit there, so we lost a couple of your words with the sound going a bit funny there. My apologies, Lee. So you were saying that.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, I went through what you call gender dysphoria, Kevin.
Yep.
Basically, what that is the body doesn't match how you feel inside consciously. You're assigned a particular sex at birth, but it doesn't match your sex organs. Although there's different types of dysphoria, people cross-dress. Some may do the gender reassignment surgery, whether it's male to female or female to male, or they may go all the way and just go through. I went through 5 major operations, so I'm fully complete. So I'm what you call trans man or man. So the most important thing is to be true to yourself and be who you are, and what makes you feel comfortable with who you are, how you connect with yourself. Just remember who you are. And it's a difficult thing to go through because coming out, you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get.
Yeah.
You think, family, or it could be the workplace. And there's a lot of podcasts that have gone up onto the platform, which we'll talk about that in a bit. And it speaks about diversity, equality, and all the different issues that one has to go through gender dysphoria. But I've always believed, and I mentioned it on this morning's show, that it's genetic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was behavioural or psychological because I came from a generation where it wasn't even spoken about.
Yeah.
So I never wore a dress. I didn't wear a dress at school. I totally felt like a boy trapped in a female body. Yeah. And that's it.
And that's one of the things I always challenge when anybody doubts that it's genetic. You know, as we had a family friend growing up, and unfortunately, their son was born in the wrong gender. He was born in a female body, and from being an infant, a tiny infant, I remember he was so evidently a boy. I mean, it was the most obvious example of genetics that I've ever seen.
Yeah, you can see the signs in the way that the child growing up, as they develop, you can see that something's not right with their gender when because I've got a younger brother and sister. So, I wouldn't sit around and play with dolls.
Yeah, yeah.
I was more like go and play in the dirt, pick up a ball when I was 2 years old, and go and play with my brother and all his friends. I'd look at women and look at them in a different way as a crush rather than a friend.
Yeah.
And would never be girly. So, I was more like go and play football. I'd play at the Arsenal football ground and I'd go and play football with my brother and the boys. And that's how I grew up that way. Yeah. And then I'd go and play with Action Man, as it was back in the day. So it was Man or Lego or just play with guns.
Yeah.
Like a soldier, Action Man or something. That was the world I was in. It wasn't that world. So I fully understand, but there are what you call blockers now, which is being spoken about in America, where they stop the growth of puberty for them to sort of grow into the puberty with what they feel that they're aligned with, which they should have been aligned with when they were born here and signed at birth. So I do believe it's genetic. I don't believe that it's and scientists have proven that as well, that it's genetic, because they do believe, like, you learn at school XXXY. When the mother becomes impregnated, the scientists have proven that consciously, as they're developing in the womb, the child, like myself, the consciously doesn't connect through that growth with the sexual organ that you're born with. The sexual organ that you're born with doesn't connect. There's a mix up in the genes.
And
things do go wrong.
One of the things I really don't understand, this craze, I think it's come across from the States, this craze for these gender reveal parties that has taken off. And thankfully, I've never been to one. I don't know. My friends are all enlightened enough never to have one because they know it's a ridiculous thing to do. But I do not get this gender reveal party craze that's just seems to be sweeping the nation. It's very unfair to do that to a child in advance of knowing that child, I think.
Yeah, that's a good question, Kevin. I remember going on BBC Radio with Anna Williamson, BBC Three Counties. This was back in April the 15th. She's a TV psychologist, and she actually sometimes goes on this morning show. She asked me a direct question.
Yeah.
She said to me, "What do you think of the younger children growing up through puberty? Do you think they should go through the process at a very young age?" So I said to her, I do believe, because you're still growing, I wouldn't go too young going through the process. I'm talking about surgeries and that. You got to be, I'm not saying that they don't know who they are, but they're still growing through puberty. They're still growing. And, the gender spectrum is so vast. They need to make sure exactly who they are, what direction they're going in with this, before they make that commitment with what they're going to do. Because it's a big thing to go through, a process such as that, gender reassignment,
and you, with your journey, because I know that you've, I'm always conscious when I'm asking questions how comfortable people are answering them, but I know you've written about this extensively, and we'll talk about your books, and spoken about it extensively. So at what age did your surgery start and stop? At what age did your journey really?
Well, I didn't start till I was 41.
Right.
And I was in a place where I just felt trapped. I'm going to be honest. There was suffering with depression, a feeling of not wanting to be here, suicidal. And, with regards to the TV documentary film coming out, a lot's being exposed, but we'll come to that a bit later on. But all those issues that I've spoken about, I've been hearing from other people because I'm an advocate for the LGBTQ anyway, and I'm a motivational speaker. So I'm talking about all of these things now and helping many people right now within the networks, within the community, because I'm also a member of the Clacton Pride Committee. And we had an event this year, which is a taster to the big one next year. So I had a press release there, and we sort of getting the funding together, lots of planning going on for the big one next year, because you know, Clacton-on-Sea has become a very tourist area. There's a lot of money being pumped in. It's becoming quite popular now. So lots of people, tourists, are coming in from abroad and locally from London and wherever.
And it's great whenever you speak about, because you're so vocal about your journey. And I mean, you have been to the, as we touched upon there just before we started talking about Pride, we talked about the fact that you had depression and at times suicidal thoughts. And for anybody going through that, to have local prides, to have things like what's going on in Clacton, to meet people like yourself who can talk about the other side of the journey and the space you're in now is a remarkable thing.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the first book, because the first book talks about me going through a gender identity crisis for 40 years. And I got asked, you know, why now at 41? Why now?
Yeah.
Asked on this morning show, but because it was the right time.
Yeah.
You know, many within the community out there, the trans people will start to question, when is the right time? Well, it doesn't really matter what age you are. You'll come out when you know the time is right. Like, because we're all on a journey, Kevin. And my journey was to come out at that time. You know, so in the first book, it doesn't just talk about the gender identity. Yes, that's the main story, but what makes it a little bit extraordinary is that it's intertwined with me being in a dark place.
Yeah.
And all the patterns that I went through in my life, and it's intertwined with spirit as well, because I went through some paranormal experiences. Went through should I say, a bit of a profound spiritual awakening, being in a dark place. So I've had a bit of a calling here.
Yeah.
With the journey that I'm on, I've had a bit of a calling. I'm here on purpose to help.
Yeah.
So the second book that's being released. So the first book was called Living with Lisa, but it's now been changed over to The Inner Child of Lisa, the cover. And at the moment, I've got a consultant called Parker Harrison Consulting, and you know, PR agents that she's working with, so forth, to now we're building the platform up.
And
so
you mentioned
the kind of subscribers to go onto the landing page, basically.
Yeah.
To subscribe, because you know, and get the book from there, because the second book's being released in December called Transmangelic.
Yeah.
And the second book, because both of these books are non-fiction, it's a true story.
Yeah.
The second book is a springboard to the first book, which is part of the platform, and also in a documentary film, which is due to be released 2022 onto one of the main channels on TV, and that's going to go all over the world.
And I know we're not allowed to talk. I know we're not allowed to talk too much about the program at the minute. So I think on the program front, we will certainly. It would be lovely if you'd come back on and talk to us about that when you're allowed to talk about it. But I love some of the social stuff that you're doing. I love some of your social content. It's you were talking about Transmangelic, and there you are sitting chewing away on your fish and chips and talking about doing loads of video and content. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yes. There's lots of podcasts gone up on the website. It's just being updated at the moment, but they've got the landing page, so it's going to be shared around for people to subscribe.
Yeah.
As I said, the second book is a springboard, and it's to do with abuse and trauma. So I'm not going to give too much away with everything, because it's all going to come out in the with the documentary film and so forth.
Yeah.
Press and whatever. Don't want to give it to, but it's a self-help book where it's intertwined with the LGBTQ queer, and going through what I've been through, and it's intertwined with spirit, and it talks about the tools and techniques that you can use to heal from any kind of abuse or trauma that you may get, because it seems to be a lot of it happening here on the planet, no matter who you are.
Absolutely.
So this book is not just for the LGBTQ, it's for everybody as well. This book, it's out for everyone. It's a gift, basically, what I'm sharing.
What I'll do as well, I'll make sure that we post links for people to be able to subscribe and to find all your details and to find the to find the books. And one of the other things I should point out as well at this point is that I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, Lee, but Trans Radio has set up a free confidential helpline for anybody that's struggling, much like you spoke about the struggles within the journey. So for anybody that's struggling either personally or for a family member, there is truck listens. All the details are on the Facebook page and website. So in case anybody is, because we've spoken about moments of crisis during this. So if anybody is feeling one of those, then pick up the phone. There is a free confidential helpline there for people.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Because I'm going around working with charitable organizations, and I've came across not only parents, but individuals that are struggling for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Whereby either the individual themselves are going through a gender crisis, like myself, and some of them are as young as 20, whatever. And also there are issues for confidentiality. I can't give any names of these people. They've approached me and I've helped them, and they're I'm giving them the guidance and support that they need and where to go.
Yeah.
And also, there's some of the stories that I'm hearing from people is abuse as well. A lot of that going on within the family unit as well.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
And this is where the second book is going to come out, where I'm going to be talking about something that I've gone through. And really it's to help others. So, but I had to go through the pain and the suffering first and heal before I could help others. So this is a gift, this book, because it talks about the tools and techniques that you need to get through it and to go, no longer be a victim, and to empower yourself.
I for one will be purchasing a copy. And you said it's out in December. Do you know what date yet? Do you know what point it's out?
I reckon it could be before Christmas or just after Christmas, but they said December.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I'll keep everybody informed of the date and post a link. And until then, we have run out of time tonight, but I hope you'll come back on the show. I have loved talking to you, and I'd love to chat to you some more when the TV program's out next year, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as I get the green light, because obviously press releases and that, yeah, it'd be great to come back, Kevin. Definitely.
Absolutely. We'll do a special about it. We'll do a special about it at that time, because I have a funny feeling we could sit and chat all night. So I look forward to it. Until then, Lee, a very happy Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Kevin. It's a pleasure meeting you.
You're very welcome, and you too. Take care. Happy Christmas.
Thank you. You too. Ta-da. Bye for now. Bye.
Oh, I love this. We continue in moments.
This is good.
Yes.
You're logged to Trans Radio UK. Our truck shop is open. Hoodies, t-shirts, face masks, hats, and a whole lot more. Visit transradiouk.com.
Ever wondered what a rainbow might sound like? Chimes? Harps? How about a chorus of 100 LGBT plus good causes on the Rainbow Lottery? It only costs £1 to play, and 50p goes to help people living with HIV, safe housing, human rights, pride groups, and many more. And guess what? You could win 25 grand each week. Go on, contribute to our chorus of great causes and win on rainbowlottery.co.uk. Players must be 18 or over. Always play responsibly, you lovely lot.
Finding the right dress size and fit can be impossible. Let Mischief Collections design and create for your new figure, from a simple consultation to a beautiful delivered garment, created just for you. Contact www.mischiefcollections.co.uk for more information.
Looking for business cards, flyers, in fact anything in print? We can help. Digital format specialists, www.printsmart.uk.com. Think smart, print smart.
Hi, I'm Hazel Dean, and you can get my new Always collection from the LGBTQ Plus shop, with all the profits going to Trans Radio UK.
www.thelgbtqshop.com/Hazel. Hazel is spelled with 2 L's. HAZELL.
Trans Radio UK is on right now. Across the UK and beyond. Now. More of the music you love. What's more? Trans Radio UK.
And now on the show, he hasn't been here for a couple of weeks. We've had special theme programs over the last few weeks. So our poor Rory was sitting at home in Ireland, dishevelled and distraught at not joining us each week. But he is back, and it is, of course, the voice of Ireland, Mr. Rory Carrick. Good evening.
Good evening, Kevin. And yes, thank you for remembering that I am alive and and for bringing me back. So it's a pleasure to be here.
And I stumbled over that intro just now because I was about to say the voice of Ireland, but of course you're not actually. Yet again, Judith Chalmers is off on her travels.
Yes, I am. I am coming in live from Lanzarote at the moment. So I am here a couple of days, and well, I've arrived a couple of days ago, and I'm staying until mid-January. So yeah, a little bit of winter sun.
I tell you, if anybody could see me now, I have a lovely shade of green, and it doesn't suit me.
I'm looking forward to a lovely shade of brown, actually, by the time I leave here. So that's the plan anyway.
Well, before we have a chat about Lanzarote, because I want to know what it's like over there at the minute. One of the things when we were getting ready for tonight's show, one of the things that you had sent me was honestly one of the stories that I have found most shocking since I've started doing this program, and it's about a farm in Ireland. And I'll let you tell the story because you had sent this to me, so I'll kind of hand it over to you.
Yeah, so this is something I'd spotted myself kind of just recently in the last few days on Twitter. So it seems to be getting a bit of traction in terms of kind of news stations and radios and stuff picking it up. But the crux of it is, I suppose the headline is what you would call it, is organic farm must pay 8,000 compensation after telling HIV positive volunteer to leave. So, I mean, I'm sure, like you can gather from the headline that obviously it's quite a negative story. But essentially what has happened is this particular farm, which obviously hasn't been named, and everyone is trying to figure out who it is and where it is and all of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So a guy that had gone to work to volunteer there, part of the program is essentially you do your work and you get your food and your boarding and your lodgings and that kind of stuff as part of it. So the guy had started, he'd been working there, and he had a conversation with the owner. I think it's two brothers possibly that actually own it. Mm-hmm. And on his second day at work, he'd been asked about a limp that he had, and apparently he had this limp as a complication from some antiviral medication that he had taken. Mm-hmm. So he had said to the person that he had been HIV positive, and this is why he was taking it, and that had caused the limp. And subsequently, the day after, then his employment or voluntary work was terminated. A little bit coincidental, I think so. So he was also refused. He was told he had to leave within a day or a day and a half, and he was also refused the use of the shower in the facility that he was staying in as well. So obviously he was quite hurt, embarrassed about the whole situation, distressed. He wasn't allowed to use the Wi-Fi either, and mm-hmm. He had to walk 6 kilometers to a local pub to use their Wi-Fi as well. So as you can imagine, I mean, being told, look at one, you need to leave. Two, you're not allowed to wash yourself, and you can't use anything. It's. I mean, I think the message was fairly clear, but he did take it to the work rights tribunal, and he was awarded the €8,000. But I mean, I suppose that's just the legality bit of it. Like, they have done wrong, and this is what they must pay. But I suppose it opens up that bigger question of, why are people still treated like this, for starters? And when I think I've seen a couple of more stories like this kind of creeping in, and obviously there's still a whole piece of work there to be done around the education around it, because he is actually undetectable. And that obviously came out later on in the court case and that kind of stuff as well. So I think there's still a huge fear there for people, and obviously it has to come from ignorance.
Yeah,
which is, in 2021, it's quite a sad thing to see.
I mean, this is a what I suspect is a relatively young person he's a US national. He's stranded in a foreign country with no money, not being able to have a shower, not even been able to use the Wi-Fi to let anybody know what's happened. And frankly, I think £8,000 is not even the tip of the iceberg of what that per person should have been awarded. And I find it really sad, because this isn't the Ireland that I know and love, and that's not the mass public opinion. And after the World AIDS Day show we did, where it finally seems that the U equals U message is getting through, to then read this, I find really upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, it completely is. But I definitely, I mean, obviously you're very familiar with the U equals U. I'm very familiar with it as well. But I have had kind of, again, like as I was saying to you, since kind of starting being a guest of this show, I've been having more conversations with people around various different topics. And this is one of them, the U equals U. But there's still so many people who just, I suppose, outside of our community, who have absolutely no idea what it means.
Yeah.
And I suppose that really maybe is where the education needs to happen. And be a little bit more mainstream, because it all still feels a little bit underground, and we know about it amongst ourselves, but really, we're not the people who are doing this discrimination. Well, I'm sure there is some amongst the community, of course, as well, but I think on a wider scale, it's down to lack of knowledge.
Next week's show is going to be as normal as we can do it, and
we can still talk all about our favorite Christmas movies, our favorite Christmas songs, all next week, because regardless of whether you're in the sunshine or the rain, you're still going to be listening to the music and watching the movies.
And I might brag, I promised months ago that you would never hear Mariah Carey on this show, but I might have to brag that next week.
I feel, do you know what? In the best interest of everyone, I feel she should get a little mention in next week.
Absolutely. The Queen of Christmas cannot escape our show at some point. So I look forward to chatting to that. I'm looking forward to hearing about all your shenanigans next week, and maybe not all your shenanigans, because we know what you're like. But I look forward.
This is a family show.
Exactly. I look forward to hearing the Christmas ones anyway. Have an amazing week till then. Enjoy the sun, and I can say that through gritted teeth.
Will do. Lovely to talk to you, Kevin.
And you take care. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's it for another week. Don't forget, next week, it's our Christmas special, and I can't wait. We may even have that Mariah Carey song as promised. Talk to you next week. Have a good one.